Yes, yes. I think we're on the air. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back, peoples. I am Shawn Strong,
And I am Decarius McClearn,
and this is the Groove Pavement podcast, talk show, and movie review.
where we break down the Blaxploitation era, the cinematic genre, the exploitation of the black culture and experience through film and media.
We'll also dive into the cast, the subgenres, the TV shows, and the music.
Outside of the films, we'll view some critical signs of the time and what these stories meant then and now, from entertainment to society to economics.
The Groove Pavement.
Can you dig it, sweet mama?
Dig it.
Once again, we're talking about the Blaxploitation era, or the explanation of, and some reviews. So in this pretty much the segment, our unofficial third episode, we're going to talk a little bit about how we tying this all in. So in the first, we just talked about us, letting y'all know who we are, what we're about, and where we're going. The second was about Blaxploitation, the genre in itself. And so how are we tying all of this in? You know, we're talking about some politics, the past and current events, and media, and the storytelling. So we want to talk a little bit about the politics of everything.
Well, it's good that we're reflecting on the past because the past is very present. And we talk about the Blaxploitation genre, we would be remiss not to talk about the politics surrounding that time. So you think about the 60s that have happened. You know, you have your civil rights movement. That splinters into the Black Power movement. There's a rift between kind of like the black middle class establishment, SCLC, and then you have your SNCC, your Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which was spurring the leadership of people like a Stokely Carmichael, before him, John Lewis, who was recently passed away. But you have all these movements going on. You have the Vietnam War as a backdrop.
Yeah.
You have the counterculture movement, spurned by the hippies. So you have all these different particular social storms coming together, and black people are very much a part of that. And so when the Blaxploitation era takes off, it's obvious that those storylines and those politics kind of spill their way into the plots of these movies. And in particular, violence that we experience against the police, Jim Crow. If you notice, we have an era between 1900 and 1970 for black people called the Great Migration. And a lot of the early Blaxploitation movies have a rural backdrop. A lot of black people that are in your urban centers now have family down south. And so here you have movies like the Black Klansman, those kind of rural type of settings.
The original one.
The original one. And how the backdrop slowly changes. Once we get to the early 70s, now we have an urban backdrop. So a lot of the art mirrors what took place in life.
And that's a great way to look at it too for folks who may not know how the Blaxploitation came about and what was going on before it, and even the politics that play within it. So a lot of us, we watch the movies strictly as entertainment.
Yes.
Not seeing or knowing or feeling what pushed these agendas and what we were really fighting against. Especially those who are on the other side. It's just like, why these movies are so violent, why there's so many prostitutes and pimps and where it was coming from. So they may not even felt where we were coming from or what came about. So, but it's very important. Just like now, a lot of stuff that's going on in today's politics or our current events, there's some people who may not see the other side because they've never been on that side. And once they feel it, we see, like even today's TV shows, there's a lot of stuff that's, the wearing of the mask and the police brutality is just because what's really going on in society. So these politics of back then is very important of this era. And even with the music, because even like especially with the Vietnam War, a lot of the singers was writing about it, writing against it, and these are the songs that lasted.
Bob Dylan,
yes,
for one, Stevie Wonder for another, Marvin Gaye for another. So, who did a score?
Yeah.
For a Blaxploitation movie called Trouble Man. He did the score for that.
Yeah, so these especially the songs, they last through time, because you can play these songs now, looking at stuff that's going on, and it seems like it was from then.
Yeah,
So it's just like a mirror in a sense. So the other thing we're talking about the past events, just media in itself and how it was used. A lot of it was propaganda. And we talk about the early days. So one of the main movies from early 1900s was Birth of a Nation.
absolutely.
The original Birth of a Nation, which set it off. Just how that was just a propaganda, and even Woodrow Wilson at the time okaying it and pushing it out. So that caused a nice little storm in itself.
And we became prisoners of that particular imagery. The Klan, their membership, their recruitment, it explodes after that movie. Understanding your president Woodrow Wilson at the time, and there's another event we just witnessed the people storming the D.C. Capitol, but there was another event that happened in D.C. probably 100 years ago, where there were white citizens that were just like kind of snatching black people off of the street, and so a lot of the black vets started fighting back. So this whole storming the Capitol and that violence in that particular area is not new, and it also centers around some of the challenges that we had in black life. Even them storming the Capitol. Remember, the Black Panthers did that in the late 60s, but they did that in California, in Sacramento, and they didn't do what these guys did at the Capitol. But laws changed after they did what they did, and they were peaceful. It was intimidating, but what they did was very peaceful.
Yeah, so even the marketing with the media is another thing that was a tool that was used, to get what they thought people were like, in a sense. So that's another thing we talk about, like we mentioned before, the posters, the movies and stuff like that. Just the way that it forced information on certain people against certain people. So, but it made some changes, because even if you look into some of the rap music, you saw people talk about certain things, and then rap actually changed when we had PRTs and Brand Nubians. But once they Public Enemy, they were against a certain thing. So once that got towards the mainstream, they felt like it was a little bit too much. We have to change it. So the same thing with the movies. So a lot of stuff in the politics really dictates how media is pushed in all these different messages and stuff like that. So I think this Blaxploitation is very important, because it showcased a lot of things, and especially for our actors, and what type of movies that was going to come after it. And we had after the 70s, we got the John Singletons, the Spike Lees. If it wasn't for what was going on in these times, for us to make these first films, the Gordon Parks and stuff like that, it wouldn't have pushed for us to make our own films. So a lot of the stuff, even though it was bad, but it pushed us to, okay, we need to make our own films. We need to write our own stories. We need to create our own narrative. So a lot of people exclude the politics and all this other stuff, but it's very, very, very essential to what happens in the media.
And the media is an echo chamber for the politics. It's an echo chamber for what goes on in society. It's really expressing a value system through TV, through music, through cinema. So we have to be very conscious of our image, and I think we have been careless as people about our image and who we allow, and sometimes haven't been able to control that imagery. But there's definitely a value system that's expressed via media, and that's why it's so important for us to control it.
Yeah, so we see that what people are talking about in our culture, how things are exploited, So it's definitely dope because we are very creative in our culture, from the music to our styling, just about everything. And that's one of the things for me is the films and the music. So a lot of things I look at too is like how in my household, it was always music. My father was a DJ. My mother, played music. I'm sure the same as you. So us listening to music all the time, and it's just dope that I can still feel and hear vinyl.
Yes.
And just having some of those things. I don't think anybody has VCR tapes anymore, but if they do, yeah. So so. It's just a reflection. So tying that all in, all the stuff that was going on now. So when we were younger, everything was just fun. So as we get older now, it's just like, dang, look at the stuff that's going on, and we have to deal with it as adults. But at the same time, in the media realm, it's just like so many things we remember, even like from the toys and all the stuff from back then. It's just like some things became iconic. So you have the Shaft and the Pam Greers. These things are iconic things, or the sayings and stuff like that. So it just one of the things that I just love seeing and looking forward to, and what we can do now from the stuff that was done in the past. So hopefully, when we showcase or we do some of these, show some of the clips, you get a feel of whether it's the actors or the actresses, the music, or how it connects from, especially like today's music. We're just going to tie it all in so we can get a re-glimpse of what was really there, So, and it's going to be a little change from what's going on now. So I'm looking forward to how we seeing things of the past that still looks like today. How we're going to move forward.
Yeah, just giving it. I want to be able to give these performers, these projects, these soundtracks, I want to give them their just due. Unfortunately, a lot of these people have passed on, but we still have a few of them that are around, and they need their flowers now. They don't need them afterwards.
And RZA is one of the main ones that that samples a lot. Premier,
yes,
and mainly the RZA is one of the main two, because like especially the first couple of movies that we're going to talk about, right off the back, especially in the intro, in the beginning of some of these movies, you hear these loops, and then like on Ghostface, you hear these certain sayings, and a lot of people may know where they come from, but these sound bites are dope. And even Jay-Z used clips from the Superfly, I think. From Superfly. So a lot of these sayings is pretty dope. That we can use, or not probably supposed to, probably have to be getting cleared in anything, but they just add to the music, having these different sound bites in there, whether it's interludes and stuff like that, and using the music. Redman used a lot of the music where he could just rhyme over certain beats, so it just fits for today, and it seems like what's old really don't get old.
Yeah,
we just kind of like make it new again.
Yeah, it's a lot of timeless moments that came out of these projects. A lot of catchphrases, a lot of iconic scenes. I'm thinking of one of the great character actors of our time, Antonio Fargas. I'm trying to Huggy Bear. But he did it was kind of like a monologue or a soliloquy he did for Foxy Brown, how he was talking about what am I supposed to do with all this ambition I got? So that was actually a clip that was played on one of these classic rap albums. I gotta go find that again. But a lot of these things that are from the past really set the tone for a lot of the hip hop and a lot of the movies, and even even a lot of the things that we do and say now.
And the way they look, a lot of females or the women have to take homage to how the women were back then. They were just classy and they were very, very elegant to look at, even though they didn't do too much. And just the fact that a lot of the stuff, we talked about Willie Dynamite a little bit. Some of the stuff may be funny. One of the biggest things is the 3 movies that Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier made. He made the Uptown Saturday Night. Let's do it again,
and a Piece of the Action.
These movies are memorable, and the things that they did, the names that come out, that a lot of people may not know that the name Biggie Smalls comes from out of these movies. Yeah. And what else came out of that movie? We mentioned Foxy Brown. Like some of these names that these rap names come from these characters.
Ghostface is my favorite character out of the Wu because of his appreciation for that era. Yeah. Pretty Tony, that album, that 2004 album, which is criminally underrated. So if you're out there, go get that album. It's a great album. But that Pretty Tony character or that Pretty Tony moniker comes from the Mac.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Because that's when he's told to stick himself.
Yeah, stick yourself, Pretty Tony.
Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff that we're definitely going to show. Some of these clips, some of them are deep. And then we are, and the fact that we can delve into many different genres. You know, the horror wasn't many, but, we had...
definitely enough to talk
Black
about.
Frankenstein, the Blackula.
Yep.
Some weird stuff, but the fact that we went there too, and I think we talked about it before that even today, like we don't have a lot of black sci-fi, or even black horror movie, and it feels like it's always known that the black guy is gonna die first. So that has to change somehow. We need it. Do you think we can create some more horror movies?
Oh, definitely. Jordan Peele, what Jordan Peele is doing right now is monumental. Yeah. And it's cerebral. It's not just there's the subliminal, there's the superliminal. He's hitting on all cylinders right there. So he's a brilliant, for somebody that is comedic. Yeah. He's definitely tapping into some deep places in the psyche.
Yeah. On the comedy side, what do you think about Black Dynamite?
Black Dynamite, I thought was hilarious. I thought it was a nice ode to the era. Yeah. You could tell that Michael Jai White and the people that produced that really studied that era. They were fans of that era. Even
the mic hanging out.
Yeah, the boom. He's looking up at the boom. The boom mic. So what I loved is the character Bullhorn, because it was a spot on Dolomite impression. Yeah,
Dolomite pretty much is his own genre.
Yes,
he did multiple movies. He did one of them that Devil's Son-in-Law. But the kid comes out like 6 years old. Pretty much, he's like a grown kid at birth, jumping out the butches and going in slow mo, damn near butt naked. And he was big on karate flicks too. So. We definitely had some dope, unique stuff that.
And I love Rudy Ray Moore, not because his movies were great. They were what they were.
Kind of bad.
But they were kind of bad. But that's why people went to go see it, because it was funny. Yeah. But there's no Tyler Perry to me without Rudy Ray Moore.
Yeah, because he started with doing records.
Yeah,
right?
records. But even having a whole project and presenting it to studios. Like Tyler Perry would film whole shows, whole seasons of shows, and that's different than having a pilot. So here's Rudy Ray Moore with his own studio that he bought, and his own acting and all of those things, and then be able to present that to movie theaters. That wasn't being done, not by us, on a grand scale like that.
And I think some filmmakers, independent filmmakers, do that on their independent route.
Yes.
Which is immediately just going straight to the theaters and talking to them to showcase their movies, which is dope. But the other thing, we were talking about politics, how a lot of these production companies, big studios would use football athletes, sports athletes, mainly Fred Williamson, Jim Brown.
There's Rosie Greer. There's the Black Six. There was like 6 NFL players in that movie, and the only one that I could think of was 2. It was Mean Joe Green, and then Mercury Morris, who was on that undefeated Dolphins team. I can't think of the other 4, but they used a lot. Bernie Casey is another one.
Yes.
But
they were good actors.
They were. I mean, Jim Brown had his own career.
Yeah.
Aside from having a legendary NFL career, he has his own acting career. If you didn't know anything about Jim Brown, the athlete, he's got a nice movie catalog.
And he was very vocal in the social movement.
Yes.
But yeah, Fred Williamson, he had he's had his own production company, started making his own films overseas and stuff. But he out of all of the sports actors, he was definitely the best to me. He
had the most.
He had humor, and he was definitely reminds me of my dad. The way they looked and stuff, their style.
You know what I loved about Fred Williamson is that when he decided that he was going to go into Hollywood, he had his own press conference, and he said, I'm getting ready to go into Hollywood, and I have a few requirements. 1, I don't lose my fights. I always get the girl, and I don't die. Now cast me.
That's like the Samuel L. Jackson. He got a curse in every movie. But yeah, he definitely left his mark. He did his thing, and he was a good actor. He's a very good actor. And he's evened up to "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker."
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. That was dope too. What do you think was better, "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker" or Black Dynamite?
I don't know. I like Black Dynamite. But I'm gonna get you, sucker, for some of the iconic moment is Antonio Fargas walking down after he first gets out of jail.
He had
the goldfish in his
shoes. Yeah, that was definitely dope. There's a lot of stuff that we're gonna look forward to, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not just gonna be talking about the main movies itself, but some of the offshoots and the TV shows, and because even he was in Dukes of Hazzard, right? Andy Fargas?
He may have been in. I'm not sure.
What was the main show that he was in?
Well, he was in
MASH.
Antonio Fargas was in Starsky and Hutch.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Starsky and Hutch. And we had homegirl that was in Star Trek.
Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah, as Uhura.
Yeah.
So it was, and there's a thing on her because she wanted to leave the show.
Yeah.
And she talked with
Dr. King.
Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of things that happen with this genre and this movement, and for us to be watching what we, seeing ourselves and hearing what need to be said in our narrative, and in the light of being exploited.
Yes.
In a sense. So we're looking forward to pushing forward. So this is our 3rd unofficial episode, and next time y'all see us, we'll be going live. We'll be showing some actual clips. Maybe get banned from Facebook, because you know how y'all do when we put stuff up. But we ain't gonna stop there. We're just gonna continue.
Keep going.
Yeah. So some of y'all need to see it. Some of y'all need to hear it. Especially the younger who may not know where these clips are coming from, but y'all hearing it, especially on the music side, and knowing some of these actors and stuff like that, and who was the Denzel, the original Denzel, which is Sydney. So looking forward to it. So tomorrow we will be going live on the Groove Pavement. All right. So this is your brother Shawn Strong,
and I am Decarius McClearn,
and this is the Groove Pavement. So make sure y'all follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, and our website, thegroovepavement.com. We'll be seeing y'all tomorrow. Peace and blessings.
Right on.
Yeah. The Groove Pavement.
Podcast, talk show, and movie review, where we break down the Blaxploitation era, the cinematic genre, the exploitation of the black culture and experience through film and media.
We'll also dive into the cast, the subgenres, the TV shows, and the music.
Outside of the films, we'll view some critical signs of the time and what these stories meant then and now, from entertainment to society to economics.
The Groove Pavement.
Can you dig it, sweet mama?
Dig it?